Hello and welcome to our edible garden. I'm going to show you the front yard first. We've decided to put together a sustainable garden, and I'm going to walk you through some of the features that we have in here. So as you can see, we've bordered the edge of the path with rosemary, which is obviously a herb, and we've planted throughout things like sage, basil. We've even got a couple of olive trees, which is just fantastic. A little bit more basil, and of course you can see plenty of picturesque flowers that actually assist with pollination throughout our garden because it attracts bees. We've also got chives, a little more basil, some tarragon, some thyme, more chives, and as you can see, it really is very, very pretty. It's early days, but you can imagine just what this is going to look like in as little as a few months. Some parsley, and of course we've even got some veggies out the front. You know, if you can grow a weed, you can grow a vegetable. It's very, very simple. This is a cauliflower. This is a volunteer, and I'll explain a little bit about volunteers as we walk through. You can also see some more cauliflower. In fact, there's one ready now to pick. You know, volunteers are an amazing thing. You can see here we've got some tomatoes, and in fact they've actually produced some tomatoes. It's truly remarkable. You see, these volunteers come from using compost, and all of a sudden you have these things that appear that you hadn't planted yourself, and as a result we leave them there, because if we can grow a weed, as I say, we can certainly grow a vegetable, and I'd much rather grow something that I can get some food from than having to look after weeds. So as you can see, as I said before, it is a little early, but it's certainly getting there, and it's just remarkable. I'm not mowing lawns. I've got sugarcane mulch down to keep the weeds at bay, and of course to keep the moisture in. And I'm going to take you out the back now, so just as I say, it truly is a remarkable little garden, cottage garden, but filled up with herbs. Now as we go through the garage, you'll notice that there's some straw, but certainly a chest freezer, and of course the vegetables that we produce that we can't use, we blanch and freeze. We also have a worm farm, which is most important, because recycling, as far as I'm concerned, is truly something that people ought to get involved in. Now we've got potted herbs, and eventually a lot of these herbs I either propagate from and then use to either pass on to others, or they wind up in our vegetable beds. Now as you can see here, we have some zucchinis planted amongst some citrus. You can see that there's a dwarf orange tree. Suffered a little bit because of the wet weather, but nonetheless it's doing well now. Lemon tree, that is just absolutely laden with lemons. We can't wait till they ripen. Zucchinis, they're underplanted, and we've had a great productive crop from those. You also notice that there are some marigolds around there. Of course, you always need something to help assist the bees to be attracted to, you know, pollinating those flowers. So as you can see, there's plenty of zucchinis to come. We have a dwarf mandarin tree. We have every spot that we find, we always find a plant that we can use in an area where, if it's going to grow a weed, it can certainly grow a vegetable. So it's important to know that you don't need a lot of space to do this. As you can see, we have some strawberries on the fence, and we have remarkable success with those. We pick about a punnet of strawberries every second or third day. We have some capsicums, and we companion plant a lot. You know, what goes well on the plate goes well together in the garden. So basil and tomatoes love one another. So it's important to know those things. Strawberries, again, we have plenty of. We've got a blueberry in a pot, chives, silver beet, baby cos lettuce, another potted strawberry. They're tiered pots By that I mean we've got a 14 inch, a 10 inch and an 8 inch pot all stacked within one another, filled with soil, and then we surround them with plants. The broccoli has just gone nuts, as you can see, and it's starting to head, so we're looking forward to some more broccoli. I have a kiwi fruit, a male this side and a female the other, and you can see some evidence of some baby rocket starting to come up, and beside those we have, not that you can see much evidence just yet, but we've got some Chantenay red carrots, and beyond those we have some cauliflower and more broccoli. You'll notice the blue plants there are flowering lobelia, again also to attract bees. Cabbage, not far away from being able to harvest. We've got a pumpkin. We have some silver beet just tucked in behind the pumpkin, and then of course corn, which is starting to silk. They won't be long before they start to form cobs. In fact, I can start and see some cobs now, which is great stuff. Again, another strawberry at the end of the bed. We have some more broccoli. We have runner beans. In front we have little goldmine lettuce. We have a passion fruit, Nellie Kelly grafted passion fruit over these arches, and to the left we have banana passion fruit. Tomatoes. This was a bit of an experiment, and it's just great fun to have some experiment in your garden. You know, a lot of people advocate that you should just grow tomatoes on 1 or 2 stems. I decided to leave these ones go and do what they will, and they need a little bit of a tidy up at the moment, but I'll get to that. But as you can see, there are plenty of tomatoes, and we've harvested quite a deal of them so far. A grossless tomato the other side, just in front of the water tanks. Also important, collect your own water. Fantastic. Every time you water with rainwater. Now, this is our vine plantation. I've got a grape on the opposite side, and this is a spaghetti marrow. Unique, very old-fashioned plant that is just amazing. You simply cut it in half, baste the outside of the plant with a little bit of olive oil, season it with some salt and pepper, put it face down in a baking dish, 30 minutes on about 200, and scoop out the centre. You'll be amazed at what you see. See, look, everywhere you look we have these marrows popping up. We also have some cucumbers, which are just fantastic. Nothing better than be able to walk outside and pick your own produce. You know, we're a little bit over the prices at supermarkets, and the produce that you get often is very inferior. We get second-rate produce and pay top dollar for it. And my wife and I decided that that's enough. We've had enough. It's time that we took control of what we eat. We know what it's sprayed with. We know what it's fertilised with. So as you can see, you know, you don't need to have a great big backyard to do something like this yourself. This is a bed set down for spuds. Excuse me. We have some kipful potatoes in the front of this bed, and I'll plant the back of it out with corn. We've got some Brussels sprouts, some leeks. We also have some fruit trees, I might point out. This is a double grafted Gala and Fuji apple, which will espalier over the fence. We have a dwarf peach and nectarine double grafted, same peaches and nectarine on the same tree, a dwarf pear, and of course marigolds, also good for companion planting, particularly around apples because codling moth don't like marigolds. A few more bits and pieces to point out, some more basil and of course more marigolds. You see, a vegetable garden doesn't need to look like a vegetable garden. You can actually pretty it up. Snow peas and some more beans, some more tomatoes that are doing okay. Chantenay red carrots, and in fact we had some Lollo Rosso lettuce behind the Chantenay reds. We have some zucchini, and we have some pumpkin down further, headed towards the compost bins. And we also have more zucchini into quite a long bed down this end. We have dwarf beans. We've actually put in some, and it's now February, folks, and I've planted another lot of tomatoes. You know, our seasons become later and later, so don't be forced or think that you're going to put tomatoes in too late. I'm sure that we will get tomatoes from those. Eggplants, the ones with the pink flowers, and we've got a little bit of fruit on those. Those are the smaller eggplants. Dwarf beans are amazing. They produce so much produce, it's ridiculous. I encourage each and every one of you, if you're limited for space, put dwarf beans in. You can see the beetroot is not far away from harvest, and we've learnt to pickle it, so I never buy another can of beetroot ever again, because this stuff is just amazing. And of course we've got the second lot in, so it's important to subsequently plant your crops so that you've always got stuff coming on. We still have some potted stuff like a fig, that's going to go in the ground soon, capsicum, and some of these pots we actually grow for our chooks. And our chooks are just wonderful because this adds to the permaculture in the garden. Our food scraps go to the chooks, and it then goes from the chooks to the compost bins, and what we can't put through the chooks we put into the worm farm. So then of course it gets returned back into the vegetable garden, iceberg lettuce and silver beet behind. So we're utilising a lot of the space, and in fact we've still got areas in the garden that we haven't touched yet and we intend to. So there's, you know, you can have a fairly small yard. This block is only 600 square metres, and it has a 27 square house on it. So let me just pan around from the corner of the garden so you can get a rough idea of just what can be done. And as I pan round, pick up those arches so that you can see, and we intend to put two more arches in there, get those vines happening. Some more vines obviously through in our vine bed. So there you go, folks. I hope that inspires you to perhaps consider doing what we have.